Got it through to Kaprizov. Kaprizov wanted the wraparound, still with it, fires, scores! The Thrill makes it 2-0!
Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we need to talk about some huge updates with the KIRILL Kaprizov situation, and trust me, there is a ton that just got leaked. Now, if you don't know already with KIRILL Kaprizov, 2 weeks ago, there was reports that he was going to sign a one-year deal with CSKA Moscow of the KHL, unless the Minnesota Wild and KIRILL Kaprizov were able to come to an agreement. Since then, there's been a ton, though, that's actually gotten revealed, and a ton that's gotten leaked on KIRILL Kaprizov's side and the Minnesota side as well. So when it comes to the KIRILL Kaprizov situation, what is the latest news and the latest rumors that you guys need to know about? And what is happening with KIRILL Kaprizov? Will he go to the KHL? Will he stay in the NHL? Will a contract get signed soon? Make sure you watch till the end for all the news, all the rumors, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. 60% of the people that are watching are not subscribed. If you like hockey and if you like trade rumors, this channel is the place to be. Now, the story obviously starts 2 weeks ago when Frank Seravalli dropped a bomb of a tweet. He said that a one-year, $8 million deal would be in place with CSKA Moscow unless Kaprizov and the Minnesota Wild could come to an agreement. But as the situation was just starting to unfold, there already begun to be some speculation on the KIRILL Kaprizov side of things that it was a negotiation tactic, that it was a ploy, that KIRILL Kaprizov was lying. Multiple people in Russian media said that exact thing and thought that KIRILL Kaprizov would eventually sign with the Minnesota Wild. But we had a little bit of a break in terms of news from that to now, and there's been quite a bit that's come out. There was a little bit from Bill Guerin, GM of the Minnesota Wild, who basically was completely calm in his press conference, saying that he was sure that KIRILL Kaprizov would sign, and he was not worried of the KHL threat. And at that time, there was still the threat of that being the case and being a possibility, but Bill Guerin tried to play it down. And that was the last news that we really got for a while, until these last couple of days where a lot has come out. And up until recently, the story was always, okay, yes, Kaprizov could sign a contract with Minnesota, but that KHL threat could be a factor, and especially in a contract negotiation is definitely making it a lot more interesting. But going back to day one, minute one, when that whole situation arose with KIRILL Kaprizov, my thought was always, this is 100% a negotiation tactic. This is 100% a ploy to just get more money, get more term, and to stranglehold the Minnesota Wild into making a decision, making a contract extension that KIRILL Kaprizov would actually want. And we've heard recently as well that Kaprizov is looking for the 7-year, around $8 to $9 million deal, which is a lot, even for a player that just won the Calder Trophy, and I love KIRILL Kaprizov. I think he's fantastic, but it is a lot for a team like Minnesota who wants to get every single dollar they can and wants to contend these next few seasons. That's going to be a lot of money off the books they wouldn't have already. But with Kaprizov, again, from day one, I always thought that it was a negotiation tactic, that it was a ploy by KIRILL Kaprizov to get more money and to get more term. And since that first day, since that Frank Seravalli tweet, that's been proven right time and time again. But when it comes to KIRILL Kaprizov, the threat was still there at the same time, and KIRILL Kaprizov is a phenomenal player, and I've been on the KIRILL Kaprizov train for a very long time. I love this guy a ton, and I think in terms of play was just a dominant player for the Minnesota Wild this past year and should have won the Calder Trophy. This past season, in 55 games, he got 27 goals, 24 assists, and 51 points, and in the playoffs got 3 points in 7 games played. Kaprizov, though, especially regular season-wise, was a great play driver, accelerator, great on the power play, just fantastic offensive weapon and option and star that the Minnesota Wild desperately need. And for me with Minnesota, even though I would give around what Kaprizov is asking for, and I would bend a little bit to make a contract happen, I can see why they're not doing it. They're going to be in a lot of cap trouble these next few seasons, especially with the Suter and Parise buyouts, and they're not going to have a lot of cap space. So I can get them trying to penny pinch and Kaprizov trying to get as much as humanly possible. This is one of those situations where I think it's both sides kind of have the same momentum and the same motivation. And for me, when it comes to Minnesota, even though I would sign him, Kaprizov is an interesting case, and again, is a guy that I just don't see signing the KHL anyways. is. And the recent reports that have come out recently from super verified sources just continue to confirm that it was basically just a marketing decision by Kirill Kaprizov, a ploy to get more money and to get a better contract. And from Michael Russo of The Athletic, who just does fantastic stuff surrounding the Minnesota Wild, it has been pretty much confirmed that Kirill Kaprizov will not, and I again repeat, will not play in the KHL this next year. Now, he says this, which I think is super interesting. A contract doesn't sound imminent, but the good news of a Kirill Kaprizov contract talks with the Minnesota Wild, there's been a lot of conversation lately between the Wild and the Calder Trophy winner's side. Also, CSKA Moscow has publicly stated he's not playing there this season. And that is just an absolute bomb right there from Michael Russo, just telling it how it is. This was from day one, before day one, just a ploy by Kirill Kaprizov to get more money, and it was never the case where CSKA Moscow was actually going to sign him. Now, reportedly, the reason why CSKA Moscow won't sign him is because they're already super close to the cap. There's no way they're going to be able to bring an $8 million deal into their books, and their roster is already full, so they'd have to make a big move to get somebody off the team. And again, cap space-wise, it doesn't work whatsoever, and obviously the KHL can be crazy sometimes, and they can bend the rules just like they want to, but in this situation, it just doesn't seem like that'll actually be the case. And again, Kirill Kaprizov, even if he wanted to go to the KHL, even if he wanted to get a reasonable amount of money, like $8 million, it wouldn't happen, and CSKA Moscow cannot make it work. And that just makes it even more interesting, because again, they publicly stated that Kirill Kaprizov cannot play for them this next year. And we were talking about Kirill Kaprizov calling his bluff, calling him a liar, calling him all this different stuff. But when it comes to Frank Seravalli also tweeting that, he was likely given that by the Kirill Kaprizov camp to talk about that, to talk about a potential offer. And it seems like from the Kirill Kaprizov camp, again, that was just a ploy to get some public attention on the situation and to make the Minnesota Wild do it. And, I mean, right now, the Minnesota Wild look like absolute just geniuses. They didn't bow down to Kirill Kaprizov. They knew from day one as well that it was a negotiation tactic. Bill Guerin did not step down. He has not stepped down his offer. And even though a contract is not imminent, which is not great news, at the same time, he hasn't bowed down to Kirill Kaprizov's asks. And again, the Minnesota Wild being patient and being just calm in this situation proves, for them at least, to be the right decision. They were calling his bluff. Everybody was calling his bluff. And right now, Kirill Kaprizov is in a pretty bad situation. I mean, just imagine this. You go through all this and you say you have a contract on the table publicly, basically, is what they did. And now it's been proven to be basically a complete lie. And Kirill Kaprizov still doesn't have a contract. Minnesota has reportedly not bowed down to his asking price, so he's just back to square one and right where he once was without all this different stuff. So for me, when it comes to Kaprizov, this whole situation has been a pretty big failure for him and his agent. To me, it's kind of crazy to think about that way, but for Minnesota, they definitely played their cards right so far. And again, with Kaprizov in Minnesota, a deal will likely come eventually, but I think for Minnesota especially, it won't be a deal that they don't like. And for Kaprizov, you'll have to wait to get some big money, I think, in the future. We'll see what happens, but I do think when it comes to Kaprizov, he's been proven wrong in this situation, and not as a liar, let's say, but the situation that he wanted to get more money with that negotiation tactic, and it completely fell flat on his face. So we'll see what the contract eventually looks like, but Kirill Kaprizov will be a Minnesota Wild next year, and right now, that is pretty much confirmed. But I also find it so funny that for Kirill Kaprizov, it wasn't like, oh, it's a reporter saying that it was completely false. No, CSKA Moscow, his KHL team, had to publicly state that it would never happen, and Kirill Kaprizov cannot return to the KHL. That, to me, is just the funniest thing, because I'll just say this again. I love Kirill Kaprizov. I hope he gets the bag. I hope he gets as much money as humanly possible within the Minnesota Wild range. But at the same time, I find it super funny that it wasn't like a Michael Russo to expose it. It was CSKA Moscow to say, okay, this is not going to happen, and Kirill, you are off your rocker, okay, bud? Stop this. So that, to me, is the best part about this whole situation, and this situation, to me, is pretty much closed now. Unless we see offer sheet rumors or trade rumors now because of this, unless a deal can't get done. To me, personally, when it comes to this situation, I'm pretty convinced the Minnesota Wild are going to end up signing him. From what we've heard so far, they're looking for a mid-range deal, probably in the 3 to 4 year range. And in terms of that AAV, I'd probably expect it to be around 8 points, $5, maybe $9 million at that term, because if it is longer, it'd probably be a little bit less, or maybe more than that, we'll see. But I think when it comes to Minnesota Wild and Kirill Kaprizov talks, I think it will eventually get done. And this might be a situation just like the Pettersson and Hughes situations in Vancouver, where it might be a training camp signing, it might be going that late into the season, but in my opinion, for Minnesota, this is a deal that they cannot screw up, and this is a situation they cannot screw up either. But again, with their patience, with them basically calling out Kirill Kaprizov's bluff, it's worked out pretty good in their favor so far, and I think it will continue to do so. I think they'll get a pretty good deal in this next one, and again, with Kirill Kaprizov, he is an RFA, and he can't go back to the KHL. Unless there's a trade or an offer sheet, he has to play for the Minnesota Wild, and I think that will be the case this next season. And I looked it up to just make sure of it, but Kirill Kaprizov is a 10.2C RFA, which means that he can't even be offer sheeted. So basically, in my eyes, I think Kirill Kaprizov was looking at a situation, looking at the Minnesota Wild offer, not loving it, and basically bluffing as the KHL threat being a possibility as his only real option. He can't get offer sheeted, and Minnesota isn't going to trade for him. So his only option at that point would have been to make the awareness to the KHL threat and try to have that be a situation that wasn't really a situation. And I'm going to say this right now. It seems like the Kirill Kaprizov camp knew that CSKA Moscow couldn't make a deal work, but they were just grasping at straws, anything possible to get some type of leverage on the Minnesota Wild. That to me is what was probably happening here. I mean, they're not stupid. They know that CSKA can't really afford him, but they make that deal happen because people don't know what's happening in the KHL really, so they just assume that it could be a possibility. And in that respect, it was a little bit smart by Kirill Kaprizov in his camp, but at the same time, it has not worked. Minnesota has been smarter so far to not bow down to Kirill Kaprizov's asks, and again, no offer sheet is possible with the way that Kaprizov's contract or former contract was constructed. So at this point for Minnesota, they have pretty much all the leverage right now, and even though, yes, Kaprizov is the Minnesota Wild, at the same time, I mean, they don't have to be a perfect team in October if it does go that far. They can afford to take some time off with Kaprizov and not have him on the roster. They're still an okay team without him, but at the same time, obviously, I think both sides need to come to an agreement. Both sides, I know, are best with each other, and Kaprizov should stay a Minnesota Wild. Though I will say again, this whole situation has been pretty crafted by the Kirill Kaprizov side of things, but again, it looks like it has not worked. It's been an absolute failure, and Minnesota is holding strong. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell to get notified on when every single new video goes live. Make sure, of course, you comment down below what are your thoughts on the Kirill Kaprizov situation and all the rumors and all the news that's come out these past couple of weeks. What do you see a potential Kaprizov contract looking like? What do you see the actual extension looking like once it's actually done? Do you see a trade happening? What else you see happening in this crazy Kaprizov situation? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments down below. Make sure you share this video with any hockey fans or Wild fans you know out there, whether it be in IRL or online. Share the videos with them. Definitely appreciate it a ton. And of course, click on this card right here to watch another video. I have a playlist full of all my trade rumor content, right in one playlist, so make sure you watch that if you haven't already. Good binge material, trust me. But my name is Nathan. Thank you so much for giving this channel a chance throughout all of this. And thank you so much for watching right to the very end. I'll hopefully having a fantastic day, by the way, but I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.